In Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, shadows breathe, graves whisper your secrets, and the dead rise with hollow eyes that burn into your soul. Step closer, but beware, something waits, hungry, and it's watching you. In the shadow of the ancient trees and the rolling hills of Sleepy Hollow, New York, lies a cemetery that holds more than just the bones of the departed. Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, a site renowned for its centuries-old graves, has become one of the most haunted locations in the United States. Its history steeped in supernatural lore. The restless spirits of those who once called the village home refuse to stay in the peace of their graves. Instead, they wander the grounds, forever disturbed by the unresolved mysteries of their lives. Sleepy Hollow is a small, picturesque village that sits along the banks of the Tappan Zee River. Its quiet charm has drawn countless visitors for years, especially those seeking the story of the famous Headless Horseman from Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Yet, what few realize is that the cemetery where Irving himself is buried holds a far darker and more mysterious history, one that spans centuries of ghostly encounters and unexplained occurrences. The cemetery, founded in 1849, is a tranquil final resting place for many of Sleepy Hollow's most prominent residents. But beneath its serene exterior lies an energy that has captivated those sensitive to the paranormal. The first signs of this unease came shortly after the cemetery was established. It began with inexplicable sounds, whispers on the wind, and strange lights that danced among the tombstones at night. Among the earliest reports of supernatural activity was that of a local historian, Henry Collins, who, while researching the cemetery in the early 20th century, claimed to have encountered a strange figure wandering between the graves. The figure was described as a tall man, dressed in an old-fashioned suit, with pale skin and hollow eyes. His presence was eerie, yet he seemed to glide silently through the cemetery, as if searching for something. But the spirits of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery are not confined to a single figure or time period. They are a collection of souls, each with its own story, and their restless energy manifests in various forms. Many of the hauntings are attributed to the souls of the Van Tassels, the prominent family of Sleepy Hollow, whose ancestral plots lie in the heart of the cemetery. One of the most chilling legends is that of Elizabeth Van Tassel, a young woman who died under mysterious circumstances in the late 1800s. Elizabeth's death was never fully explained. Some say she was poisoned, others claim she was the victim of a tragic love affair gone wrong. Regardless of the cause, her spirit is said to wander the cemetery at night, weeping for her lost love. Witnesses have reported hearing the soft sound of crying near her grave, and those brave enough to venture close have described a cold, clammy sensation, as if someone or something is standing right behind them. In the 1920s, Sleepy Hollow Cemetery became the site of even more unsettling occurrences. A group of amateur paranormal investigators, drawn to the cemetery by its dark reputation, set up equipment to document any strange phenomena. What they captured on film was unlike anything they had ever imagined. On their footage, shadowy figures moved across the cemetery grounds, often disappearing into thin air just as they were about to approach. One investigator, Thomas Reeves, swore he saw a spectral figure rise from a grave, its face obscured by shadows. But it wasn't just the spirits of the Van Tassels that haunted Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. Over the years, the graves of Revolutionary War soldiers, early settlers, and even slaves who were buried in unmarked graves began to show signs of unrest. Their spirits, too, wandered the grounds seeking acknowledgement for their lives and sacrifices. One of the most infamous spirits of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery is that of Major John Andre, a British spy who was executed during the American Revolution. His death was a turning point in American history, and it left a deep scar on the collective memory of the nation. Major Andre's final resting place in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery has long been a site of mystery and speculation. His ghost is often seen walking along the riverbank, his figure silhouetted against the setting sun. Some claim to hear the clink of his boots on the cobblestones as he crosses the cemetery, while others report feeling a strange sensation of being watched, as if Andre's spirit still lingers in the land where he once fell. Throughout the years, countless visitors have come to Sleepy Hollow Cemetery in search of the truth about these restless spirits. Some are skeptics, looking for logical explanations for the strange phenomena, while others are true believers, seeking a connection with the afterlife. One particularly chilling encounter occurred in the 1980s, when a group of teenagers dared each other to spend the night in the cemetery. As they huddled together near the grave of Washington Irving, They heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps behind them. When they turned to investigate, no one was there. Terrified, they ran for their lives, and one of the teens later claimed to have seen a pale figure with glowing eyes standing in front of Irving's grave. The spirit of Irving himself is often mentioned in the same breath as the others. Some believe that the famous author's ghost remains in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, watching over his creation, the Headless Horseman. Whether or not this is true, the eerie presence of the cemetery has only grown over the years. Even visitors who come for a simple tour of the historic site have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of unease, as if they were being followed or watched by unseen eyes. But it isn't just the historical figures who remain active in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. Local legends speak of a mysterious group of spirits known as the Whisperers. These ethereal beings are said to be the restless souls of those who were buried without ceremony, their bodies lost to time and neglect. Their whispers are said to be faint but chilling, carried by the wind through the cemetery's tall trees. Those who have ventured into the woods surrounding the cemetery have described hearing their voices in the breeze, urging them to come closer, to listen, to understand. But no one has ever been able to decipher what the Whisperers are saying. In the late 1990s, a series of paranormal investigations took place in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, sparking a renewed interest in the site. Teams from various ghost hunting organizations set up cameras and equipment to capture any activity. The results were stunning. The footage revealed inexplicable phenomena, such as objects moving on their own, temperature fluctuations, and eerie orbs of light that hovered over the graves. But perhaps the most chilling discovery was a series of recordings, captured late at night, that seemed to contain voices that didn't belong to any living person. One investigator, Daniel Howard, recalls an especially unsettling moment during a late-night investigation. As he walked alone between the gravestones, he heard footsteps behind him. When he turned, there was no one there. As he continued his investigation, the footsteps grew louder, echoing through the empty cemetery. It wasn't until he reached the edge of the cemetery that he realized what was happening. A figure, cloaked in shadow, appeared in front of him. It was not a person, but something more, something unnatural. Daniel froze, his breath caught in his throat as the figure slowly faded into the night. Sleepy Hollow Cemetery remains a place of fascination and dread. Its spirits, both famous and forgotten, continue to haunt its grounds, seeking peace in a place that is anything but peaceful. The restless souls of Sleepy Hollow will never truly find eternal rest, for they are bound to the cemetery by the unresolved mysteries of their lives and deaths. Their stories live on, whispered through the trees, carried on the wind, and captured in the heart of the cemetery where time itself seems to stand still. For those who dare to visit Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, it is a place of reflection, but also of trepidation. The boundary between the living and the dead is thin here, and the spirits that roam these hallowed grounds are not easily forgotten. Each grave, each tombstone tells a story, but some stories are meant to remain untold. And as the centuries pass, the restless ghosts of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery will continue to haunt the living, forever seeking the rest they have been denied. The stories of the restless spirits that roam this ancient land are far from over. With each passing day, the past continues to linger in the shadows, and the souls that remain are forever searching for the peace they were denied. The whispers in the wind, the flickers of light in the dark, and the eerie sensations are not just figments of imagination, they are the haunting echoes of those who walked this earth long before us. Their tales live on in the spaces between the living and the dead, waiting for someone to listen, to acknowledge their presence. If you find yourself drawn to the mysteries of the unknown, to the chilling allure of the supernatural, there is much more to discover. Like, subscribe, and join us on this journey into the heart of the eerie and the unexplained. Don't miss out on more spine-tingling tales that will keep you wondering what lies beyond the veil, in the realm where the past and the present collide. Stay tuned for the next story that will haunt your thoughts long after the screen goes dark.